Alright, you guys, if you're thinking about setting up your first fish tank and you want to know what the best fish to keep is, then this is the video for you. I'm going to go over what the best first fish to keep in your tank is. Now, they are very good eaters. They come in many different colors, many different shapes, many different sizes. They are a blast to watch, and they're very hardy, so you should have no problem keeping any of these guys alive. And of course, today I am talking about the Tetras. Now, not only are they very beginner friendly, but a lot of experienced fish keepers love to keep Tetras as well, just because of what they have to offer with their behavior, their many different sizes and shapes, and their amazing appetite. Watching these guys eat is awesome, which we will see later on in the video. So before we go ahead and we get into why I love Tetras so much and why I think if you're a beginner, you should get them, or, if you just love fish in general, why you should consider getting Tetras, I'm going to go over the two Tetras that I'm running currently in my 75-gallon South American dominated tank. So the two Tetras I'm running, the first species is right here. These guys are called the bleeding heart Tetras. As you guys can see, the sort of bleeding heart in the middle of their body. They look absolutely great. And the other Tetra I'm running, which you can see right behind them, are those blue body with the red fins. These are called Colombian Tetras. So those are the two Tetras that I'm going, or that I have gone with in this tank. Now let's go ahead and let's get into why Tetras, in my opinion, are the best beginner-friendly fish and why I love them. Okay, now reason number one has got to be one of the best reasons of all time why you should consider any fish. These guys are readily available. You can find them pretty much at any PetSmart, Petco, or any fish store that offers fish. Tetras are super common, which is a bonus. Now there's, of course, tons of different types of Tetras, which we will get into, but any fish store you go to is bound to have one type of Tetra. Now the next part is equally as awesome. Is Tetras are usually the cheapest fish, one of the cheapest fish you can get, which is awesome. I know some of like the small neon Tetras you can get for like $2 or $3 a piece, and those guys stay pretty small and they school pretty tightly. Or these are kind of on the bigger side of the Tetras. These are like the Colombians and the bleeding heart Tetras. These guys are still like maybe $4 to $5 a piece, depending on how big you find them. So definitely not breaking the bank as if you were to go with, like, let's say a Sevrum, which you guys can see back there. They're kind of going at each other a little bit. Those guys, the Sevrums, are a little more expensive, but if you're a beginner, you're bound to make mistakes. And these guys are very cheap, very easy to find. So if you make any mistakes, they wouldn't be that big of a deal to replace. And speaking of mistakes, these guys are pretty hardy from my experience. They can withstand tons of different water parameters. As long as you're kind of on top of your water changes and feeding them regularly, they will be fine in your beginner tank, or any tank for that matter. The next thing I love about Tetras, guys, is these guys love to be in a school, which means you can have a couple of them in a tank, or even, a bunch of them in a tank, depending on how big your tank size is. But as you guys can see, the bleeding hearts, these guys usually stick together for the most part. And same with the Colombians. Right now, they're kind of spread out, but that's just because they're feeling, pretty comfortable in the tank, and they're probably looking for food. But in my opinion, I love seeing when fish kind of school up. It's definitely a very cool, natural behavior that you can see. And, who doesn't love a schooling behavior fish, especially when you have a centerpiece fish? Like you guys can see my red spot gold Sevrum here and my orange shoulder Sevrum we have over there. It's definitely cool to kind of break up the background with some schooling fish. So, schooling fish is definitely a plus because you can kind of get that really natural sort of behavior right in your own room or wherever your fish is at. The next thing that I love about Tetras, and you guys heard me mention this previously, is they come in all sorts of shapes and sizes and colors. Now, this is one of like the main reasons why I think they're very beginner friendly, is because there's pretty much any size Tetra for any tank. You guys can get the rummy nose Tetras, which have that awesome red in their face and kind of like the flag tail in the back. These guys will stay pretty small and they will school pretty tightly, so you can have these in a 5-gallon, a 10-gallon, or I've even had them in my 75-gallon kind of schooling around. They look awesome. You could also get the neon Tetras, the cardinal Tetras. Those guys look awesome. Those are on your smaller scale. Or you could go with a Congo Tetra. These guys have kind of like the long fins and really cool colors, and they will get sort of on the bigger side for the Tetras. You also have black skirt Tetras. You have all different types of shapes, colors, which is awesome. Or you guys can go with what I have here, the Colombian Tetras and the Bleeding Heart Tetras. Now guys, this is a video of my tank 3 years ago. And as you can see at the center of the screen, towards the back of the tank, moving to the right, those are the schooling rummy nose Tetras that I was talking about just a minute ago. Now this just goes to show the size difference and the shape difference and color differences that you can get. Now you can see them slowly moving to the left. There's about a group of 5 of them schooling pretty tightly. So yeah, they're just really cool in the background. They really fill up you know, the background of your tank. There's just action going on everywhere. So this is like a really nice, peaceful setup. And you guys can see the Tetras still there in the background. And then they'll kind of split up a little bit, but they'll always find their way back to each other. So I've been keeping Tetras for years. And you guys can see my tank looks a lot different than it does now. But there are the Tetras again in the center of the tank. And yeah, so those are the rummy nose Tetras, very small, but again, you know, just in another tank setting. And you guys can see that they look pretty comfortable, pretty happy, and they just add to the tank overall. Now guys, in the fish hobby, one of the coolest and most fun things to do is feed your fish. Now the Tetras, one of the reasons why I love them so much is they love to eat. They get super excited, they go crazy, almost like a feeding frenzy whenever you feed these guys. They're sure to keep you entertained, and I'm gonna show you guys exactly what I mean. And this is what I mean for beginners. This is gonna be super exciting every time you go to feed your fish. Your Tetras, if you get them, if you start with beginner ones, they're gonna go crazy. And they eat pretty much anything I throw in the tank. I have like little baby cichlid pellets. I also have some Tetra color flakes. And these are some sinking pellets from my Geophagus. So they will literally eat everything. They even eat LG wafers from my plecos when I've kept them back in the day. So here, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna throw it all in, prep the camera. Let me, hold on. And once the Tetras smell it, you guys can see up at the top of the tank here. Look at that one. This guy's going crazy. Look, they have a crazy appetite. They're gonna eat absolutely everything that you throw in the tank. Very fast eaters. It's kind of hard to keep up. Let me zoom out. And this is how all Tetras eat, guys. They are not shy eaters. I know if you start with some cichlids, sometimes, you know, they could be shy eaters or just shy in general. Not these guys. These guys are always out, always swimming. They love eating everything. So that's a plus. You know, you don't have to be stressed out about your fish not eating, because the Tetras are sure to eat absolutely everything that you throw in the tank. And you guys can see, like, the other fish have to be pretty quick, because if they're not, the other Tetras or all the Tetras will eat everything, which, you know, could be a problem if you have some slower moving fish, but more oftentimes than not, you just feed a lot, and everybody will be sure to get plenty of food. And this is one of the main reasons, again, why I love the Tetras, is just because they're just such a fascinating fish. They don't hide. They're always moving, always active. They're great eaters, come in a bunch of different colors, shapes, sizes for all tanks. Some other Tetra information, they like sort of like the tropical temperature water between 74 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit. So you're going to want some sort of heater in the tank, which is pretty common. That's a pretty common temperature, 74 to 80 degrees. And they like a neutral water pH, so nothing crazy, not on the high end, not on the low end, or on the soft end, I should say, just, you know, right in the middle for the pH. But at the same time, like, as long as your water's consistent, that's what really matters. These guys are pretty hardy. They can handle just about anything. And also, another cool thing about Tetras is some of them can live up to 10 years. So, you know, if you love your Tetras, that's a great thing, because they will be around for a while. Now, that's not to say they're guaranteed to live that long, but they can definitely live that long if you take care of them. But yeah, look at these guys. They're still just grazing the top of the water. These guys are absolute units when it comes to eating. Just some final closing thoughts and statements about Tetras. Another reason why I think they're great for everybody, for beginners especially, they lay eggs. So this is important, I think, because lots of small fish, like if you go with guppies, those guys will reproduce like every day, and you'll find a bunch of new guppies. And for me personally, if I'm setting up sort of like a show tank like this here, you know, I kind of have everything written down for what I want to get in the tank, and you don't want to really overstock it or increase the bio load too much to where the filtration can't handle it, especially if you're a beginner. So you don't have to really plan for, you know, any crazy repopulating with the Tetras, which is great. Not to saying that you can't get them to repopulate, but you know, when they lay eggs, it's a little harder for them to repopulate as opposed to guppies. So I think that's great that they don't just reproduce all the time, which, you know, some people might want that. And if you do want that, then definitely go with guppies. But these guys are sure to, you know, just make sure that your population doesn't really fluctuate that much. So if you do have all your fish planned out, you're typically not going to get any surprises with that. I think that's a big one. Another big one, like people might be asking, like, why not go with barbs? You know, barbs are great too. They have great color, like the cherry barb or the tiger barb. You know, why Tetras? Well, barbs, from what I've experienced in the past, those guys can be a little more nippy with each other and kind of tear fins up a little bit if you're not careful. So in my opinion, if you just want a nice, peaceful tank that's very balanced and, you know, everyone's fins look great, everyone looks healthy, there's no aggression in the tank, Tetras are for sure the way to go. Not to say you can't try barbs, but just beware that, you know, sometimes they can get nippy and tear fins a little bit. So, you know, that's something to look out for. So just overall, the Tetras are just a good cushion. And like I said, they're cheap. They come in a bunch of different colors, shapes, sizes, and you can get them for pretty much any tank. So, you know, I say, why not give them a try? If you guys have any questions, make sure to leave them in the comment section down below, and I'll be sure to answer them. But if this is your first time stopping by the channel, I appreciate you stopping by. And make sure to hit that subscribe button if you want to stick around for the future plans of this tank. This tank will definitely be changing a little bit in the future. But if you're not new around here, if you've been subscribed and you're a returning viewer, you know I appreciate all the support. So thanks for stopping by. And I'll be sure to see you guys in the next video soon. Take it easy, guys. Peace out.